Welcome everyone to an old school, so old school we're making mistakes in the live chat. Old school edition of the FTW podcast. WWE steals even more ideas from us, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. This is episode 153 and was recorded live on February 26, 2013 on FTWLive.com. Tonight we're going to discuss Zeb versus Beck and how our site has the absolute best analysis of this. Taker passes Rock for most house shows done since we've had a black president. Swagger gets high, a DUI, and a mighty fine. Hogan wants Hardy to start stripping, and we may actually have time to talk about something that happened on TV. I'm Harrison, and with us tonight is Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Kevin. Say hi, Kevin.
We run a professional show, now don't we?
Award-winning.
Thank you for reminding me. I had forgotten.
Oh, yeah. And Garvin. Say hello, Garv.
Hello, Garv.
If you're listening through iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, FTWpodcast.com, or your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out the rest of FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in this and upcoming discussions. You can find out about us on Twitter, G+, and Facebook. All those links and much more are listed right there at FTWpodcast.com. For all those of you in the live chat hooligans representing, listening here at FTWLive.com, pour one out for our homies. This episode has been brought to you by the official I'm an FTW podcast guy T. They've been called renegades, rebels, mad scientists who change the way the world sees pro wrestling today, and regardless of what you call them, show the world what they should call you, an FTW podcast guy. You can get it in all sizes, including 3XL and 4XL. And yes, ladies, there's an I'm an FTW podcast girl T2. Check it out and buy it now for only $15 over at FTWpodcast.com/shirts. And speaking of sponsorships, why not sponsor an upcoming episode to help us pay for hosting and everything else that we do here in FTW by going to FTWpodcast.com/sponsor and sponsor a future episode today. But now, on to the week that was in WWE and TNA. First thing on the docket, we're going to discuss some TNA action here. Rob, Hogan went off again, and once TNA hits the road in a foreign country, decided to comment on the state of the state of the TNA World Title. Last time it was Bobby Roode. This time he thought that Hardy should have been stripped of the title. Now this is the second time he's done it. He specifically said if it was up to me and it had been my decision, Bobby Roode would have been a great champion to have right now. The UK tour plus a champion makes sense. A tour with no champion doesn't make sense. The question I have for you, Rob, is do you agree with him? And if so, do you think it was right for him to do what he did?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be in the UK for a month, you really should be able to bring your world champion with you. If Jeff Hardy couldn't make it for one reason or another, he definitely should have been stripped. Maybe you don't put the belt on Chris Daniels, but there are a lot of other people you could put it on. As for coming out in public and saying that, I don't know, because now Jeff Hardy's lost a lot of his credibility as champion, and a division that was evidently restricted to TNA management has now become public. So you've got divided management as to what should happen.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Rob. The fact is that at some point the company decided to keep the title on Hardy, and now Hogan's going out and essentially undermining that. Garv, do you think it was a mistake? I mean, do you agree with it? Because really, it's hard to disagree with him. You know, he does have a point. A champion, the belt should be out there. But do you really want to go out and undermine a company decision like that?
Well, it's odd timing, I guess. Yeah,
you can agree with me, Garvin. It's okay.
Well, no, it's just that I don't understand why Hogan would come out and say it like that unless he was on his way out or doing some kind of power play. But yeah, what he said was completely accurate, and we all agree with that. Well, again, I don't think anyone really wants Hardy to be champion, but without your champion at the UK tour makes about as much sense as Rock having the championship and not being on TV for most of the pay-per-view cycle. So yeah, I think he was right for saying it. But I wouldn't necessarily compare this to him backtracking as far as going back against what he said before where he didn't want Rude to be champion, all those months ago. I think it was about a year ago. It was a totally different time. Rude proved that he could be a good champion. So yeah, I think he was right in saying it, and I'm glad he said it. But really, I think the bigger question is, I thought Hogan had power there. Like, is seriously Dixie making all of these decisions? Should we be blaming Dixie for, not only this, but like the loss of the X division, being so awesome, or, like the tag team wrestling being eliminated from most of the spotlight? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Joe, what do you think?
Hogan disagreeing with TNA's decision to not strip Hardy the title. As we said on Shotgun Saturday Afternoon, which happens at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday afternoons, as we said this past week, maybe TNA actually has a plan for Jeff Hardy, and there's a specific reason they don't want to take the title off him and then have to put it back on him. As far as him, not being hip on Rude back when, I get that. But maybe now he's just like, but he's a better choice for in this situation. Yeah, that's fine. But I don't think I would have stripped Hardy of the title. It sucks, but you still got to keep your storylines up. And if they don't want, they have a long-term goal here with Hardy, and that's fine. And if that's the plan to stick with, then that's the plan to stick with. And yeah.
Okay, well, I got one more question I want to kick to you guys. Another facet to this I want to ask. So, Joe, you brought up a really good point. They got to keep the storylines stable. And the thing you got to remember also is TNA isn't operating on a monthly pay-per-view cycle anymore. Now it's every 4 months, well, every three months or so. So these long-term storylines, they have to be able to maintain them. Whereas if they were doing a pay-per-view every month, you could have Hardy drop the title at pay-per-view when you leave. He gets the title back at the pay-per-view when you come back, and it's not like he lost a lot of credibility. Instead, in this situation that TNA found itself in, if they wanted to strip the title from him, it would have to actually be on Impact, a pay-per-view quality match where your champion loses the title before you leave to go out of the country and then come back, and you still have, there's still another 2-3 months until, 2 or 3 weeks until, lockdown's in April? So you still have a long time to go until you get to a pay-per-view where you could give it back to him.
Yeah, but they had that match. So do you think... They had that match, and it was a great match with Christopher Daniels the week before they left. And this is something that we talked about then. They could have put the title on Daniels and let him, let him carry it for the 2 weeks that they're in the UK, which ends up being 4 weeks because of TV. But, I think there were opportunities to do it. But like Joe said, we don't know, the full direction of it. Maybe this will make sense in a week or two. Maybe it will make sense once we get a little closer to lockdown. Well, actually, that is in 2 weeks. So, yeah, I mean...
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, I think there was opportunities, but, at the same time, yeah, I see your point, though. I mean, it would have been weird to take the title off of him without any major build-up or anything.
Yeah, because I can imagine his passport wouldn't have been something they would have known about for a long time. It would have been something that maybe he was fighting for, probably like maybe as soon as like a month beforehand. He found out he couldn't go, and it's like, well, now we got to write something to get him to drop the title, or do we keep it on him? I don't know. I mean, Rob, do you think this is maybe a problem with the shift to the longer period, to the fewer pay-per-views every year, or do you think this is one of those, it's a blip on a radar, it's an anomaly, it's probably never going to happen again?
Well, actually, I think this is kind of a benefit of the longer pay-per-view schedule because,
really?
Well, it's a lot easier to cover. If you decide not to strip the title, which apparently they did,
mm-hmm.
with the longer pay-per-view schedule, it's a lot easier to fit that in. It makes it a lot easier when something unexpected comes up, rather than saying, okay, shit, Jeff couldn't get his passport ready. He can't go to England. Now we got to come up with a way for him to lose the belt. It's like, well, okay, yeah, this sucks. We're going to be without our champion for a couple of weeks, but in the long run, it doesn't really hurt us. Do I think he still should have been stripped? Yeah. But then again, that's because I'm not a Jeff Hardy fan.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is because of the longer time in between pay-per-views, they have more of a buffer to kind of absorb these kind of problems, and then they can work storylines around that leading up into pay-per-views?
Yes, they have more time to react to stuff,
Oh, okay. That's a really
unexpected
good
stuff like that.
I didn't even think of that. That's a really good point. Okay, so moving on. Kenny King gave an interview where he thought about going back to WWE. Essentially what he did is he had an interview where he said, no one in the right mind would ever say no to WWE. That's where the money is. That's the top of the mountain for the sport. If I got the opportunity, I'm sure I'd take it. But for right now, I'm happy where I'm at. It's too crowded over there at TNA. I get some space. Now, Garvin, I want to ask you, was he out of line given this interview? Or, I mean, it's basically something everybody knows. So does he still have to kind of be guarded when he talks about this type of stuff?
Well, I mean, this type of question is asked to basically every wrestler on both sides. And they usually give the corporate response where they say, I'm happy where I am. I don't even think about that. I mean, that's what you normally get. So, I can see why people see, an issue with his response because it was different and it was honest, but I don't agree with the backlash that he's gotten. Like, I don't know if you guys have read any of the comments on our Facebook page or over on, TNAasylum.com or TNAasylum.com, where basically
they sent us a pronunciation guide.
Yeah, they were basically attacking him, for making those comments. But here's how I see it. And I think I see it differently than most people. And that is this a power play, man? What has Kenny King done since he came over to TNA? He was brought in as this huge talent that everyone was thinking, oh my God, this guy's going to be the next X Division champion. So he's had two, three title shots. He's had some intermittent matches, but no consistency. Just like the rest of the X Division, no consistency. And what he's saying, the way I'm reading it, is that, you either use me or I'm going to go somewhere else. I'll go to WWE. And he probably could, and he could probably do well over there. So, yeah, to me, it seems like this is more of a power play than, him just being a dick and speaking out of line.
Okay. Joe, I mean, what do you feel about that? Do you feel that he's out of line with that?
I'd agree with that. No one in the right mind would ever say no to WWE. That's where the money is. Okay, he's being factual in that statement. Everybody says that. Yeah, if I got the opportunity, I'm sure I'd take it. But for now, I think I'll settle because they're not calling me. I'm at TNA because I need a paycheck. I mean, that's how it comes across to me.
Okay, no,
I mean, he's not speaking the truth. And I'm sure TNA is a good company. As much as we harp on both companies, we'll bust both sides balls, but I'm sure he would like to have a run in WWE to really make his mind up.
No, that's a fair point, Joe. Rob, what do you think about this one? I'll let you have the final word on it.
Yeah, I think Joe's right. I mean, of the two companies, I'm a slightly bigger fan of TNA than I am the WWE.
Slightly. Okay.
But the statement is factual. WWE has a bigger audience. WWE has a shit ton more money than TNA does. They can afford, wrestlers, even if you're low or mid-card wrestler in WWE, you're making a lot more money than you'd make at TNA. Like it or not, that's an honest statement. With where the two companies are right now, WWE just has more money. That's all there is to it.
Right.
I do think I do think Joe kind of hit the nail on the head, and Garvin was right about this too. It's kind of a power play. Just Kenny King making it known, hey, I do have other options. If TNA isn't going to use me, I can try elsewhere for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, the chat says they do believe, while they completely believe that Kenny King should start thinking about what he says and in what venue he says it, they don't think that saying good things about the competition automatically means that you're taking a shit on your employer. And that's a fair point. But I think the thing that we're really getting hung up on is where he says, if I got the opportunity, I'm sure I'd take it. Like, that's where a lot of us are going, well, hold on. I mean,
Right.
I would never say that about my company, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that's where we're really getting hung up on, is like, you really got to kind of rephrase that, but if it is a power play, ballsy.
And that is the problem statement of what he said. If I got the opportunity, I'm sure I'd take it. If
Yes.
I were in TNA management, I'd say, okay, well, good luck with that. You're fired.
Yeah. Yeah, basically what he's saying is, I'm incredibly loyal, and it is up for sale.
Yeah.
So that's essentially all it is.
At least it's not Eric Young.
Yeah, which is not Eric Young, yeah. Well, at least we see him in,
Hey, Eric Young
second
is
hand.
loyal. TNA has shit on him for years, and he is still, and he's
That's
still with
kind
that
of-
company.
That's kind of my point.
No, that's fair.
If we could team up one guy from TNA and one guy from WWE to be the tag team that everybody shits on, it's going to have to be Eric Young and Santino Marella.
God. Oh, God.
It would be epic, that's for sure.
Comedy
all right.
gold.
So, Robert posted to us, saying that King Mo suffered a defeat in his quest for the Bellator Light Heavyweight Championship. I think he was knocked down in the first round, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a pretty sound defeat. He got his ass handed to him.
So, Robert asks us, and I want to kick it to you guys, will he be in TNA sooner rather than later? I would say it depends on how bad he got his bell rung, but, that's just me. Rob, what do you think? Is he going to be back sooner or later?
If he has another defeat in Bellator, if he has another defeat or two in Bellator, like the one he got this last fight, I'd vote sooner rather than later.
Okay. Garvin, what do you think?
Sorry, I was actually reading the live chat. From the live chat, they're saying the King Mo should do an appearance at Lockdown, but not actually start getting involved in any type of action until afterwards.
No, that's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah. Well, what do you think?
What I think is it's time for them to actually do something positive with King Mo now in TNA. The thing, because they brought him in at one point to be like the special enforcer with Robert Roode and James Storm. It was really lame and didn't do much. And that's been his legacy so far in TNA. So they need to do something with him fast. Otherwise, it's a really blown move, that has failed utterly awesomely just because he has failed in Bellator, which is like his thing, and he's done nothing in TNA. So they have to do something with him fast, otherwise it was pointless.
Well, I think one of the reasons he might have failed in Bellator is every time they've talked about King Mo, they've talked about how he's training for TNA, he's preparing. I think he spent too much time preparing for pro wrestling and not enough time training in MMA.
In King Mo's defense, Lesnar lost his first MMA match.
This wasn't
admittedly not within the first round.
Wait. Yeah.
King Mo's
Oh
first.
god, that's right. Yeah, this wasn't. Well, no. Now, was this King Mo's
first
I thought this
Bellator
was
match.
his first. Yeah, his first Bellator match.
But he's been
but
in,
it's not his
he's
first
been in
MMA
MMA
match.
Yeah.
Right, but well, it's his first. Lesnar lost his first UFC match. I'm sure he.
Well, Lesnar's first UFC match was also his first MMA match.
Okay, yeah, that is a good point. Well, regardless, you can kind of be on King Mo's side with that one. But yeah, they do. Garvin, I'm with you on that one. They really got to change the story because right now, to the TNA fan, with King Mo in their Google News alert, all they have is he was a special enforcer and then he lost in the first round. They got to get him in TNA. They got to change the story. They got to do something with this guy to build some momentum. Otherwise, that's what he's going to be for the next 2 to 3 months, assuming he doesn't then come out and like destroy somebody in the ring, in which case that would be even a better time to debut him. But it's either you bring him in now or you roll the dice that you might be able to pull it through next time. And I don't know if I'm willing to take a lot of risks right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that on the corporate side, I completely agree with what you and Garvin are saying. They need to start doing something with him sooner rather than later. And on the personal side, like I was just saying, King Mo needs to balance his training between the two sports out.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Wesley on Facebook basically summarized what Twitter expounded at the end of Impact, and that is Aces and Eights finally won a big one. They had a big match. Devon, Doc, and Anderson defeated Bully Ray, Sting and Hulk Hogan via pinfall right there, main event on Impact. Rob, how do you feel, man? Do you feel like Aces and Eights, we're finally maybe building something here? We got Lockdown coming up in a couple weeks. Could be something.
Well, once again, what I consider a big match and what other people consider a big match seem to be two different things. This was a big win for them. There's no doubt about that. But I think Aces and Eights has had momentum for a while. I'm not surprised. As soon as I heard Hulk Hogan was going to be the third, the third member of the tag team match, I'm like, well, this is going to be an Aces and Eights win. It was definitely a big win, and it's going to give Aces and Eights some momentum going into Lockdown, which they need. They need to really build up the Lethal Lockdown match between TNA and Aces and Eights.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Garv, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, as far as this match being a big match, it totally is when you look at the big picture of what they're moving towards. You know, and this does, just like Rob said, this gives them a lot of momentum going into Lockdown. The issue I have with it is that despite them beating, like, you know, two of the top guys that are going to be in that Lethal Lockdown match, we assume, well, actually, we can't say that because Bully is fighting for the title, but still, you know,
yeah,
bigger names in the company, They couldn't do it easily. Like, you basically, you have an old guy like Sting that you can destroy easily, and they've done it before. You have Bully who is hurt, and it took them, it was like what, a 10-minute match?
Yeah, and Bully Leg with one leg almost beat Aces and Eights.
Yeah. The only problem I have with this match is, Devon, Doc, and Anderson, they needed a win. The problem is they got their win against a team with a combined age that has to cross 200 years. That's the only problem. I mean, Hulk Hogan has to be collecting Social Security at this point, and Sting's on his way. So it's like, yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Garv, you're right. They're the top faces in the company and everything, but, you know, they were also the top faces in a lot of companies that have since come and gone. So they got a lot of miles on those tires. I would have preferred if it was like Bully Ray and some of the younger guys, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess, Storm and maybe...
If you're going to continue to pull out, old people for this storyline, Aces and Eights needs to recruit the Ultimate Warrior.
which was thrown out.
Hogan.
That was actually brought up on a, blog post on FTWpodcast.com. I can't recall which one exactly, but yeah, if you think about it,
the Aces and Eights thing.
Yeah, if you think about it, Ultimate Warrior actually would make a lot of sense as that ultimate power or higher power.
Yeah, it would.
We will
power
post
of
that.
the Warrior.
We will post that link in the show notes when we post the show tomorrow. But yeah, I wouldn't make it as far fetched as you guys are thinking it is.
No. This is TNA's version of unifying the belts. It's never going to happen, people. Okay, yes, it would be fun to watch, as would me seeing a train wreck live where no one got hurt, but shit got blown to hell. Yeah, that would be awesome to see. But, come on. They would never hire the Ultimate Warrior when you have him and Hulk Hogan under the same roof. You can't control. He's insane.
Not to mention that the two men hate each other.
Oh, so much.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, the thing is that they've started to bring in some real life personal storylines into a lot of the stuff they're doing, and that is a personal feud with Hulk Hogan. I mean, because just look at what they're doing with Hulk Hogan and Bully Ray and Brooke. They're trying to make it look like they're going after his family, basically. And
I'll tell you what, Kurt.
I'm just saying, we will post the article link in the show notes. You guys can decide.
I'll tell you what. I will entertain Ultimate Warrior being signed by TNA when somehow they write in a Bully Ray has wrapped his car around a tree. Then I'll say, okay, they brought that storyline into TNA. Maybe they'll bring Ultimate Warrior too.
Maybe they can have a snake bite Bully Ray in the arm when he's tied up in the ropes.
That too. Something like that. It would have to be absolutely. They'd have to come up with something more insane in order to make the Ultimate Warrior. It's not happening. Anyway, Rob, how do you feel about Raw as a whole, though? Good show?
You mean Impact as a whole?
Impact as a whole. Good show? Sorry, I'm already mentally...
Yeah, Impact as a whole was pretty good. All of the shows that they've been doing from London have been really good. TNA's huge overseas.
Mm-hmm.
The English crowd, every show has been big, has been really involved, really energetic. They really got behind the wrestlers, and it continued this time. It was all around a good showing. The only real downside is the people from British Boot Camp have the dumbest wrestler names I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
With the exception of the Blossom Twins, I think I think is their name. Their names were okay, but Mighty Mickey and Rockstar Spud, seriously?
Yeah. Well,
Come on, man, Rockstar Spud.
No,
he's like a metal. I don't know. I didn't actually know.
He's like what? A metal potato?
Yep.
Well,
and he could throw himself at Sheamus, and that would be awesome.
Wow!
Oh,
and for all our Irish fans, yet again, that is Joe at the FTWpodcast.com.
I'm accepting all emails.
Join us Thursday, March 7th, 2013 at 10 p.m. Eastern, directly after Impact goes off the air for our Lockdown 2013 preview conversation. We'll hopefully have a full card by then, but right now what we know is that there's going to be Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray for the world title, Aces and Eights versus Sting. We're probably going to have a couple more title defenses on that. I'm imagining Knockout, and we'll probably have an X Division match, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, join us Thursday night right after Impact. It's a lot of fun because Impact just goes off the air, so there's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of us discussing Impact, when it's fresh in our minds, so we're not trying to remember what happened 5 days ago. So definitely check us out. Thursday, March 7th, 10 p.m. Hope you can see you there. And that was your TNA Week in Review. Now it is time for us to talk about WWE, and I highly doubt we're actually going to talk about anything that happened on TV. So let's just dive right in. Okay, we got to find the bigger crazy story that we can discuss. Let's just try and Joe?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Main event, Big Show won 3 matches. That's awesome. It's awesome. Draft point me, baby. Draft point.
All right, fine. Yeah, you got a lot of draft points for that one. Swagger's DUI. So Swagger got stoned and then drunk. So he got crunked and then took a joyride in a car or something. Got DUI. Now, the big story about this one isn't so much that he got a DUI. It's the fact that for basically 2 or 3 days, the entire IWC, and I love that all this happens in one of our news cycles, doesn't happen before the show where we can discuss it then. No, we got to recap this plus another week's worth of shit that we also got to talk about. Anyway, Swagger's DUI. The story was that basically, is he going to be punished? Is he going to be punished? Is he going to be punished? Now it kind of comes out. It seems like he's going to be fined. Okay, Joe, given the fact that this is Swagger DUI, it's a big deal. All right. This is a very, very bad thing to do. Given the fact that other guys have done less and have been suspended, do you find this as a mistake? Or can you kind of see WWE's side of it where you're like, look, WrestleMania is coming up. This is the big money ticket. We've invested a lot in Swagger. We can't just throw that away right now.
That's the thing, is right now, Swagger is the only thing one of the big things getting attention, for the WWE. I mean, with the entire Glenn Beck, the entire right-wing, news media, are coming after the WWE and the Jack Swagger character and the Zeb Colter character hardcore about, they're just making fun of the Tea Party, blah, blah, blah. You know what? It's fucking satire. You don't like it? Don't watch it. It's a character. You don't like it? Too bad. I mean, I think the worst thing, the worst decision Jack Swagger made was to send out a tweet earlier that night saying, "Who partying? Hashtag we partying," with a picture of the stereo, which he's rocking out to Jackson Brown's greatest hits, aka the one song, Higher and Higher. And it actually did come from his fucking Twitter account.
All right, that
wasn't hacked.
No, it was not hacked.
No, he'll come out and say it was hacked.
Yeah.
Kev, what do you think? I mean, do you think that WWE kind of played this right? Or do
Well,
you think
Joe, first of all, you're actually expecting the right wing to understand satire. So
Kevin,
there's your
come on.
first mistake.
No.
And honestly, on the point,
Kev, let's not go down that road because there's
No.
plenty of.
I would.
Come on.
That's my comment. I'm done. No, the bigger issue is, I do have a problem with this. Miz got a DUI and has been buried for how long? He's now doing interviews and still losing matches.
Mm-hmm.
Swagger channels his inner Jeff Hardy. And okay, we're gonna dock you like $500. I mean, sorry, this is the hypocrisy that they talk about when it comes to the backstage politics of the WWE. This is it in its finest, and it's total bullshit. This is not fair. He should be. I mean, after sucking for so long, now he's finally got some momentum. Shouldn't matter. This is crap. This is not fair. This is not fair to the other wrestlers who have stuck up and have done the right thing.
Right.
Just because this is getting traction. This is wrong. And this is the Vince hypocrisy that everybody talks about. This is it. Okay.
Garv, what do you think? I mean, with Kevin on that one, that it's a hypocrisy, or you kind of like they did the best of a bad situation?
I don't think it's hypocrisy. I actually think the thing is we don't know the time frame on most of the suspensions. It's doubtful that they drug test someone in the back for the health policy that they have. You know, it's doubtful that they test him and then they suspend him the next day. They usually probably go through a process to see, all right, what kind of story are they involved in? Let's finish that first before we take them off character. That's probably how it's always gone, and that seems to be, the overall rumors. You know, whenever you would read that someone had failed a drug test, it wasn't until weeks later that they were finally pulled off camera. It's just that this was made so public that it's kind of a big deal, and we're questioning whether or not it's hypocrisy. But I don't think it is. I think this is just, they just started the storyline. It's a big deal. Like Joe said, this is one of the only thing that they are pushing for WrestleMania at this point. So they kind of have to run with it until they get through WrestleMania. And we're only talking, 6 weeks, and then they'll probably suspend him. That's probably what will happen unless they get a huge, shitstorm from the media. I mean, let's look back to like what happened when this happened to RVD. When it happened to RVD, he was basically suspended 2 or 3 days later. He had his WWE title match the night after on Raw, lost the WWE title. Then he lost the ECW on the second night, and then he was suspended. So, but at the same time, look at what was going on in 2006, 2005. Eddie Guerrero died. After that, they were having all kinds of drug issues and basically a lot of backlash from the crowd, from outsiders. Umaga died the next year. All that stuff was going on. This is a different time. I don't think it's hypocrisy. I think it's just, they have to finish the storyline. They are telling the story. They can't just stop it.
Okay. Joe, you got a quick correction, and then we're going to take the round.
Yeah, quick correction for Kevin. I know you said, the Miz still hasn't recovered from like a DUI thing, but the catch here is when he was starting to get a correction on it and back on the upswing, he did kind of concuss CM Punk.
But the beginning of the end, and look, the beginning of the end started with that.
Okay,
so that's more or less what I'm getting at. Yes, there's been other problems. I'm not saying that.
Okay, Rob, your thoughts on Swagger DUI gate? I don't know what to call it.
I tend to I can see where Garvin's coming from, but all indications that from some of the stuff that I've read about this were that the WWE was going to punish him immediately until Glenn Beck lost his damn mind. And when Glenn Beck lost his damn mind and the right wing blew up about this, that's when the WWE said, ooh, we're getting attention. And like the kid that acts up, the WWE keeps marching him out because any attention, whether it's good or bad, is attention. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, and Rob, Excellent point there. And speaking of attention, we can't, this is also intertwined here, we can't talk about Swagger's DUI without also bringing up the fact that now we have Zeb Colter basically building all the heat, and WWE and Zeb going after Glenn Beck. They called him out, saying Glenn Beck basically said that, made a comment on the storyline, the whole situation. WWE fired back and said, well, you're more than welcome to join our show. We'll give you 5 minutes to say whatever you want. Beck fired back and said, I'm sorry, I'm busy being booked doing anything that night, which I just love that comment. But what we're going to do here is we're going to discuss this, and it's not going to be nearly as good as what two guys did on our site. Nick and the StiffWorker, Chris, they went back and forth on a debate on our site discussing this storyline in particular, the Glenn Beck, Zeb Colter, WWE storyline. And I gotta be honest, it was so good. I have no opinion anymore. And I'm 100% honest, because I would see, like Nick would post something and I'd read his thing and I'm like, okay, I agree, man. He convinced me. And then I read, StiffWorker throws something up. I'm like, damn it. He brought up a really good point too. It was, it's an amazing, multifaceted debate. I want to thank both of you for doing this. And if you haven't read it, go to our site, FTWpodcast.com, click the blog tab, and just read it. It is amazing to see. And even in the comments section, it continues. It's fantastic. Anyway, I want to get our thoughts on Beck versus Zeb / the WWE. Keep in mind, don't start attacking Glenn Beck. I really don't give a shit what your opinions are on Glenn Beck, but about the situation as a whole. WWE fired at him, his opinions on it. Do you think, like, I think it was Nick said, it would be amazing, the fact that you would give Glenn Beck 5 minutes of live television to say whatever he wants, and the WWE passed it up, or he passed it up. Where do you land on this one as a whole? Joe, I want to kick it to you first.
Who cares about Glenn Beck? Seriously? I mean, the only entertaining thing that came out of this was Michael Cole trying to go get an interview from Glenn Beck, and the video footage of several people trying to kick them out. One security guard's like, oh, yeah, he can't talk, he's doing a show, and then the station manager comes down and is like, he's not here, get out of my station. That was the funny shit. Outside of that, actually, I think the quote was, I'm too busy, or I'm booked doing anything else right now, or something. I don't know. I'm pulling shit out of my ass because I don't remember the exact quote.
I'm booked doing anything else, is what he said.
Yeah, which was great. And it's like, who sounds like a child now? You're going to comment about somebody caricaturing what the fuck you got, what the right seems to be doing. Come on, man. Weed the people. That's really it. Weed the people. It's a joke. It's like SNL, but with guys rolling around, hugging each other, and throwing each other on the
Moving on. Garth, what do you think about this one? What do you think about it? The whole Beck, Colter, WWE thing. Where do you land on it?
Well, I think, this is WrestleMania. All right. And let's look at the last couple of years of WrestleMania. There's always been some kind of celebrity involvement. And that's probably what they were trying to build here. They were trying to, they knew that they got a reaction from Glenn Beck and thought, oh, maybe it's possible that we can really build towards a big WrestleMania, fun segment with him kind of thing. It's backfired. But overall, that, I think that was the motivation. Overall, I don't think it would have worked. Just cause there's too many real emotions being involved here. Obviously WWE thinks this is fun and a joke, and, they are in the job of building characters. Glenn Beck and the rest of the extreme right wing are, upset because this is them.
Okay, well, I want to, Rob, before I kick it to you, I want to kind of shift this a little bit. The fact of the matter is, WWE is trying to appeal to a much larger audience than Glenn Beck is. Glenn Beck he's a guy who is trying to appeal to an audience that's very narrowly focused, whereas WWE isn't. So do you think that WWE attacking Glenn Beck like this, and essentially, with this storyline and with the manner of their doing it, kind of prodding a section of their audience that they want to keep, do you think they're kind of painting themselves into a corner here where really, once they engage with Glenn Beck, there was no win for them coming out of this? The only thing is they might get more attention. Otherwise, they seem kind of out of it and backwater? Or do you think that any press is good press when it comes to WrestleMania coming up? I mean, what do you think, Rob?
Well, the WWE certainly seems to believe that any press is good press. Personally, I was surprised with the WWE's counter of saying, okay, Glenn, we're going to give you 5 minutes on our show. We're going to let you come and air your grievances and everything. I'm not surprised that Glenn refused, because Glenn does not do any interview that he cannot control. And the WWE is not Fox News. He has no control over that. So I'm not surprised that he refused it. I'm not surprised that he refused it, but I am surprised that the WWE said, okay, you got a problem? Here, we'd like you to come on our program and do an interview.
Rob, that's an excellent point. I mean, you can disagree with Glenn Beck all you want. He knows what he's doing. And he knows better than to do what, like you're saying. He doesn't control it, so why would he go out there?
Yeah, I'll leave my personal politics aside, but he's very smart. He never does any interview that he cannot control.
All right, since everyone's kind of hinting at their personal politics, I'm just going to say that of everybody that you can name as far as what you would know surrounding this, I agree with Kane on pretty much everything. So let that inform your opinion on me personally, professionally, all you want. You can make your points about Glenn Beck and all that stuff. I read Kane's blog, and I'm always going, dude, I just want to get out and buy you a beer. Anyway, Garv, you got something you want to say about this real quick?
I just disagree with the idea that, continuing this with Glenn Beck and the whole story, in general, there's no win-win. I think there is a win, and that win is pushing ADR. I mean, ADR,
Yes.
ADR would completely win in this scenario, because, this is the direction they're going. And having a guy like Glenn Beck, although he's demonizing WWE, he would actually help help ADR more than anything. I think that's just me. Because ADR does need help at this point. That segment on Raw was so awkward. So awkward. But I also blame that on Miz TV, because I hate Miz TV.
I think ADR. Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in here because I can. I think that's another reason why they're not dropping the Swagger deal, is that ADR needs as much help as they can, and this is the storyline they were basing ADR's cementation, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, the way to cement him as a face.
There we go.
But cementation, that's gross. Yeah.
It sounds like
the only reason ADR will win, and the only reason ADR will win in an argument with Glenn Beck, is because he's got Ricardo, and Ricardo rules all. Okay, I'm done.
Cementation sounds like what would happen if you were on a porn set and everything kept getting stuck together.
Isn't that what John Cena's girlfriend got?
Joe!
Hey.
All right. Taker did a house show over the weekend. Garvin posted an interesting factoid that everybody hated the fact that he did, which was that Taker has now officially done more house shows this year than the current WWE champion. Everybody hated for the fact that he brought that up, because they're like, God damn it. What was it? I think it was,
that was off some site before he posted it. Come on.
No. I'm giving Garvin sole credit with that one. It was off our site before he posted it. I forget who it said, but someone actually responded. I think it was Kyle, said it was a kick in the balls.
Yeah, I believe it was Kyle.
Yeah.
As well.
All right, so Taker returns to a house show. We got WrestleMania coming up. Do you see him debuting? What do you think this was? Do you think this was Taker kind of getting in the ring, working some stuff out, seeing if he still got it? Or do you think this was WWE starting to, because WWE was on it right away. They were saying, look, Raw active. Taker at a house show. Do you think this was WWE planning this and building the seed there? Or, I mean, what do you think this is going? I'm going to go to Garvin first.
I think overall they were just testing the waters, to see, can Taker control a match and work in the ring, because what you don't want to do after all the surgeries that he's had in last year, what you don't want to do is guarantee Taker at WrestleMania and have him fail because he just can't do it anymore. So yeah, you did need to do something like this. I thought it was odd though that they that they basically promoted it as they did, but you gotta start speculation at some point, and you might as well control that speculation.
Okay. Kev, you got thoughts on this? The fact that Taker is returning on a house show?
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd unless they want him to do something. I don't know. It is time to, uncryo freeze him. I mean, we're getting to that point. I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's got to be now. So, I don't
Defrost
know.
Taker.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's like. Is it like that Austin Powers scene where he takes that leak for like 20 minutes or whatever?
So he's in the freezer with Colbert?
For real. Taker has earned the right to do what he feels he should do and wants to do. I mean, he's earned it. It's tough for me to tell him what to do. And last year's WrestleMania match against Triple H was really, really good. We thought that was one of the highlights of WrestleMania. So it's tough for me to say don't come back and do another match. But, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I don't see any reason why he does a house show unless they want him to wrestle to see if he's got what it takes to do another match at WrestleMania.
Okay. Rob, what do you think? Do you think that they should? Do you like that? Do you like the idea of WWE treating Taker like a Thanksgiving turkey? You got to set him out the night before, or do you think that they really should have just popped cork off, at WrestleMania?
Well, with the surgeries and stuff that he's had, I think you do need to test him out. I think WWE could also be covering their bases. I mean, there are a lot of WWE fans who are already nervous about WrestleMania because they were hoping to see another Undertaker match, and Taker himself is saying, well, don't get too excited. I might not be there. And I think the WWE saw their dollar signs start to shrink with that. So now they have to tease the fact that Taker might be there just so that they can keep some interest up in WrestleMania.
Okay. Joe, before I go to you, Rob, I do have contention with that. I don't think they see dollar signs freezing up with that. I think the thing is WWE wants to keep the streak of every WrestleMania is the biggest WrestleMania until the next one. And if they're unable to keep that momentum going, it's going to happen. There's going to be a WrestleMania that doesn't deliver as well as the one before, and WWE is scared to death of that happening. So I do drive contention with that. Okay.
Look at
the dollar signs shrinking.
No, hold on, Joe.
They're worried about this WrestleMania being the WrestleMania that doesn't deliver.
Okay, I just because I've gotten into it with Lee a lot on whether or not this was WrestleMania is dead or if it's going to get hurt or anything like that. And it's like no, it will always be successful. There's just going to be a time when it's not as successful as the last one, and that's the worst thing in the world that could happen to it because that's a shift in momentum. And anyway, Joe, you were saying, I'm sorry, go on.
Okay, I was going to say no. If you're looking for one of the worst WrestleManias, the one they did at Caesar's Palace.
The second time?
The first time where everybody came out in togas and shit.
That was Yokozuna, Luger, Hulk.
Oh god, that was awful.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But as far as shit, now I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about
Taker's house show appearance.
Yeah, okay, Taker's house show appearance. The problem is that one, let's look at it. Taker could have been just testing his leg, testing shit out. It was in Texas. Where does Taker live? Texas.
Hell. Oh.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of it, that he was just out. All the fans were saying something ran underneath the ring last night at Raw. Hornswoggle. I don't know. Could Taker come back? If he's going to come back, he's either going to be on SmackDown, which is taping. Isn't it taping now, or they do it, or is it live this week?
I think it's live this week.
Because of the social media crap.
Yeah.
The social media theme. So he's either going to come back at SmackDown or he's going to come back next week on Raw. If he doesn't come back at either one of those spots, there is not enough time to build a proper match. It's already tight as it is. But the big question then becomes, what do you do with Punk?
Okay, Joe.
I know that jumps into a whole nother topic, but as far as Taker doing the house show, fans were all over it like 6 hours before WWE's like, I guess we better do something about this and we'll post it too, so that nobody totally takes our story. Fucking A. I just flipped everybody off because that's bullshit. WWE, if they want to capture these stories, they need to just spoil their own shit. I'm sorry. They should have been the first one. They should have went live on YouTube and just pushed out a video so that people saw if they were looking at the WWE Google Plus page, live video, show that match. Just show it.
Okay.
Free.
All right. Chet saying that WWE teased the holy shit out of Taker returning last night. I'm content with what I got, but damn, Taker should have been a great cherry on top. That I don't think they really teased him so much as they just didn't. I mean, they were just like Joe was saying. All they did was they tried and turned the story back onto themselves and controlled a little bit. And by doing that, everybody was hoping that Taker would make his appearance, and I'm assuming call out Punk. I'm imagining. We didn't get that. But Joe, like you said, the weeks are ticking by. However, I mean, there is that thing that Taker's return, that once the music hits, I really think they could do it at the end of Raw, the week before WrestleMania. And it would still be a huge hit. Just have Taker come out right at the end, have his music hit when Punk's cutting a promo that he's cut off the card. I think that'd be pretty amazing. I really think it would sell. Anyway, on Monday night, last night for us, on Raw, Punk versus Cena was the main event. And wildly, everybody said the same thing, which was essentially, we just saw the WrestleMania match we deserve and are not going to get. Garv, I know you have strong opinions on this one, but I want to kick it to Rob first. Rob, did you see the match?
No.
Garvin, I'm going to kick it to you first. Garv?
Wait.
I got strong opinions
Rob,
on
it is on our Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/FTW,
that would require me to actually get on Facebook.
Come on, man. You can see.
Me get on Facebook.
Usually
I don't know.
Lee messages you like 18 times in a thread so that way he can do a trade. And that's the last time I saw you on Facebook.
So, and Rob, really, you need to see it because it's got your favorite finishing move in it of all time. That's the
fucking
Batista bomb.
pile driver!
No, the Batista bomb!
Yeah,
Oh, the
Batista
Batista
bomb,
bomb,
right? Yeah.
The Batista bomb. But still, he
Fuck the Batista bomb.
But this is the biggest thing for me. Those guys were like, we're going to give it an epic match. Cena, you're going to win. And yeah, we're going to break all the rules. Pile driver, power bomb. They're like, what are they going to do to stop us? We're doing it.
Yeah, it was, Kevin, you are absolutely right. Those two had to have stood at the top, in the gorilla pit and said, we're going to do it. We got to just blow the doors off.
You're also talking about two guys that can't stand The Rock. Cena proved that last year with all the interviews where he took him down and proved that he's the best in the mic at this point. Obviously, CM Punk has a problem with everything that's happened the last few weeks since he dropped the title, as he should. So, yeah. I mean, those guys got together and were like, let's do this. We're going to give it to him. This has been building for so long. This is the match that should be there. We're going to give it to him for free. It's happening.
Kevin, and if you add in on top of that, it was the night we had a lot of blood spilled in the very opening of the show.
Yeah. Well,
this is
I don't
a go
know.
For broke show.
That was the part that I wanted to talk about. I mean, I don't know, why.
Kevin,
why the beginning of Raw might have been so
Kevin,
good.
It's in the doc. We're gonna get to it. It's in the doc. It's right next. We got it queued up next, buddy. We got it. Just look.
Trying to jump ahead,
eat
man.
Your peas, Kevin. Eat your peas, and I'll let you have dessert. Eat your peas, and you get dessert.
I'll just drink beer instead.
Garv, come on. I know you were marked. I'm willing to say it. I marked out the entire match. It was awesome. Everybody said it was a slow build. I disagree. I loved seeing Cena do a little Mac technician work with Punk. It was a little rickety, but it was pretty good. Both got outside their comfort zones, went back into it. It was awesome.
It was so cool, man. Man, that match was epic. Definitely match of the year. It is going to be hard to top it. And the thing about that pile driver, it wasn't just, the Jerry Lawler, Undertaker style pile driver where they just fall back. It was a jumping pile driver, the way you're supposed to do it, that's the one that's banned.
And even Cole seemed to be taken back. He's like, a pile driver. I mean, like, he seemed legitimately shocked. Not really shocked, but, like...
Oh, he lost it on that powerbomb.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed legitimately, taken back that these moves were actually happening. It was awesome.
Yeah, and
I'll say it was a fucking epic match. It's one of the best we've seen in years.
Yeah, and I can't repeat that enough. But going back to your thought, Harrison, as far as the things that we keep hearing is that people are saying, all right, no one's going to top this match this year. WrestleMania is ruined. I think we we posted a blog post on FTWpodcast.com from Steven Stone, who writes for Complete Shot, that blog, and basically he was saying the same thing. Is basically there's no way that they're going to top this match, and it was, and I completely agree. I don't know how they're going to. Not especially when it's your main event's Rock and Cena. You might have Undertaker and Punk, but there's no way that either of those matches are gonna be anywhere near the level that we saw in this match. It's a type of match that we've been wanting for so long. Not just because of the pile driver, everything works so fluidly, except for the Hurricanrana, and it was just epic.
I'm sorry, I gotta give it to Cena.
It was a good try.
He tried.
It was a good college try.
It was a good, A for effort.
Yeah, but I mean that, like, if you look at it, the Hurricanrana, the pile driver, even the Batista bomb, like, these are moves, and there's a lot of stuff in that match. There was a press off the top rope that seemed a little awkward, but these are all moves that we don't normally see out of these guys, and this is, and I'm gonna kick myself in the dick for saying this. This is stuff that we saw in the Attitude Era that we liked.
Oh, God.
That could continue, that don't have to necessarily be tied to the Attitude Era. But it was like you got to see people do a bunch of different moves. It wasn't cookie cutter like it is now.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
That's all I can do at that point. It was good to see these guys bust out moves we wouldn't have seen normally, and it helped make it Match of the Year.
Okay, we've been marking out for 3 minutes. We got to at least get into the nitty-gritty of it. Okay, so here's 3 points I want to kick to you guys. One. Could this be Cena essentially putting his stamp down saying, if WrestleMania bombs, it's clearly not my fault? 2, could this be Punk and Cena saying, here's the future of the company, there's life after The Rock not having the belt? And 3, do you think that maybe this match was heightened by the fact that we're so cynical about seeing Cena versus Rock too? If that match wasn't happening, let's just say there was some other match that was going to happen that night, Lesnar versus Taker or something. If that was going to be the main event with the belt, would we still have been marking out for Punk versus Cena, not anticipating The Rock coming down? So where do you land on that one? Garv, I'm going to kick it to you again. I mean, how do you feel about that?
For sure, I think totally we would still be marking out for it. I think there was a lot of motivation from them to put on a match like that. I totally agree with what you're saying. That there's no way. Well, again, we're assuming here, but there's no way that Rock is going to put on that level of match. And this was Punk basically saying, you know what, this is what you could have had as your WrestleMania main event if you would have followed, the overall plan that we all thought they were going to go with. So yeah, I think this was totally them basically putting on a good match, a great match, to say, you know what, why do we have Rock here?
Okay. Joe, what do you think? I mean, do you think this is basically them trying to edge out Rock? And do you think that maybe would you still be marking out knowing that, would you still be marking out if you didn't have to face the fact that Rock versus Cena 2 was coming down the pipeline 6 weeks from now?
To me, this match was just the closing of the John Cena CM Punk storyline for the time being. I mean, they can always bring those guys back, but for more of a feud, because, like, as it evidenced last night, they could put up some good matches. But I think this was the stopping point for their feud so that Cena can go on with Rock. I think Rock had nothing to do with it. I mean, the fact that the only thing we got from The Rock was a Twitter message to John Cena as John Cena walked up the ramp.
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah. Why don't we just retweet our own self, It's like a dog licking his own balls. That's what that was like.
And be honest, if you could do that, you'd never leave the house.
No, I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't either. I'd be living in a cardboard box in the middle of Cleveland right now. I wouldn't even have a job. There'd be no reason to. Anyway, Kev, what do you think?
Harrison, points 1 and 2, absolutely. The third thing, nah, I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that we're cynical about that match. I just think that this was what was supposed to be there. They've had several very, very good matches, and they're like, let's do it. It's not going to happen any other time. Let's give it to them for free. Let's give it to them on Raw, what they should be seeing. And I mean, it was just freaking awesome. I mean, there's nothing else to say. It's one of the best matches that I've seen in a couple of years. I mean, you know, a while back we were talking about how good the matches between the Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money were, because they were two tag teams at the top of their game.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to see tag teams do that often anymore. These guys are it's the exact same thing. Top of their game. They've worked so well for a while. They've gotten used to each other and what they do well in the ring, how they work timing, the whole deal. They're like, well, we're not going to give it to them the biggest stage. Let's do it tonight. And I mean, all the comments are right. Everybody want to save $60. It's not going to be better than that.
All right, now I do want to close this out with some final thoughts, kick it out to you guys, and then we're going to move on to the road to WrestleMania and let Kevin work out about Triple H.
Thank you.
A couple things I'd like for you guys, you and, you know, all of our friends and everything to remember. Punk versus Cena, these two guys aren't going anywhere. It's not like The Rock, where The Rock, at the end of WrestleMania, he might be around for 2 more shows, then he's gone. These two guys are going to be in for the long haul. The other thing I've noticed is that if you've been watching Randy Orton's matches lately, they suck. He's not doing anything on the mic. He's basically coming out. It's his ring entrance at this point. His last match that he did on Raw was seriously it was his 7 moves of doom. That's the only thing he did. And a running lariat. No, I watched it. I marked it down. Of all the moves he does, that's all he does. So I'm thinking right now what I'm hoping we're going to see is we're seeing the end of Orton being the main heel that they always rely on, or that other guy that they always get to just kind of drudge up and throw against their face. And now we're going to see Punk. And so we're going to see this type of stuff. Cena versus Punk, who they're growing together so well in the ring. And we're going to see this for years to come. And look who's coming up the docket next, Dolph Ziggler. So imagine throwing him in this mix as well. So as far as I'm concerned, this thing with, look, WrestleMania, yeah, Rock versus Cena is not going to be as good as this match was. However, we will not see, this is not the last we've seen of Punk versus Cena, and I only expect it to actually get better the longer this goes on.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way this is the end of it.
Yeah, there is reason to hope. All right, so let's shift gears. Speaking of WrestleMania, we got to talk about WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania. We're 6 weeks out. Kevin, Triple H showed up, peed his pants. It was awesome, and then wrestled with Lesnar for a little bit. I can show the wet spot again, the visual aid for the crowd if they want to see it. Yeah, so Triple H makes his debut at the top of the show, interrupts Lesnar beating up McMahon, and now apparently we're going to have Triple H versus Lesnar for WrestleMania. This would be their second match since Lesnar's returned, correct?
There was talk in comments that make it a TLC match after what's happened. That makes way too much sense. So that would be awesome. Make it happen. I think it's a great idea. You could play up the cerebral assassin angle, and Brock, obviously, it's the perfect way to book the match. They probably won't do it because it's the perfect way to book the match, but yeah, I mean, it's a great idea.
They probably won't do it because Triple H can't climb a ladder anymore.
Yeah, he probably could. I mean, he'd be all rickety getting up there. All stiff.
Not to mention, I'm sure Brock Lesnar can't climb very well either.
Pedigree Lesnar through the Spanish announce table.
Well, hey, that alone would make the match worth watching.
All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But let's take a step back. Before even Brock Lesnar came out, you know, Vince McMahon, on his crutches, called out Paul Heyman. And what did Paul Heyman do? Paul Heyman gave him the gore! Gore! Gore!
Rhino sucks.
Our guest next week is Rhino.
No, we can't. Don't talk smack about Rhino. He's honestly almost been on the show a few times. Okay, now the fact that Triple H and Lesnar are happening, do you see that maybe Vince McMahon and Heyman being involved at all, or do you think this is going to be just the two of them, and this is now they've passed the baton of the storyline to these two guys, and then off we go? Garf, what do you think?
Cue someone else. I was off camera, man.
What are you, Marco Rubio, trying to get a drink of water off camera? You do this show live, bitch. Fine. Kev, what do you think? Do you think they passed the baton?
So the show that has no so politics are banned, yet we've made at least 2 political references.
Rob, this show's like jazz. You got to keep up, all right? Sometimes the rules change. We change the tempo. And we throw in a different key. You got to keep up, buddy.
This is fucking Calvin Ball, bitch.
Yeah, Calvin Ball.
Oh, invoked by Joe.
Bam.
Oh, man, you kidding
500
me?
points to go for Joe for invoking Calvin Ball.
Yes, that is Done. Give me the question one more time because I
yeah.
forgot.
It's fine. Triple H versus Lesnar. Do you see McMahon and Heyman being involved, or do you think they pass the baton and those two are kind of for the next few weeks?
I see where you're coming from. I hope not, because I think that would overbook it. Just make it a TLC match, make it, or no holds barred, or whatever you want it to be. I think if you put those two involved, I think it overbooks things. I can see definitely that side of it with the family versus, the brotherhood, with Heyman and Lesnar, for lack of a better word. I hope not, but I think that's probably where they're going. I just think it would be overbooking it just a little bit.
All right, Joe, do you think it's overbooking, or do you think they got something there?
Yeah, probably. I think I'm going to say it would be a little overbooking if they're going to push the McMahon.
Yeah. No, I can see where you guys are coming from.
I mean, it's a good basis for it. It's a good starting point, but if they're going to drag it into Vince versus Trump with Bobby Lashley and Umaga being the pawns, I have a feeling this is going hair versus scalp match.
Okay, here's now, I understand where you guys are coming from. You bring up good points, but I gotta bring up one thing, and that is we have 5 or 6 weeks to go until WrestleMania. That is a long time for Lesnar, and for basically Lesnar's only counterpoint to be another F5. Or do you think really the fact that it's Lesnar versus Triple H, there's so much heat here that they can pull it off? Do you really see no mic time at all from Lesnar's side for 6 weeks? Joe, Kev,
the problem is if you're going to put Lesnar on the mic, you might as well just put him with Swagger and get rid of Zeb Colter, because they're both horrible on the mic. Okay. I think Heyman's definitely the mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar. So if any comments are going to come out of the Lesnar camp, they're coming out of Paul.
Okay. Rob, what do you think? Do you see them going Lesnar, sans Heyman for essentially the entire road to WrestleMania?
They can't, because as Joe said, Lesnar couldn't deliver a promo if his life depended on it. You could put a gun to his head and say, deliver a good promo or I'm going to shoot you in the head. And you'd end up shooting him in the head, because Lesnar cannot deliver a decent promo at all. He's worse than Randy Orton when it comes to promos. He's worse than Batista when it comes to promos.
Okay. Now you're just slinging mud.
Well, at least he can get a sponsorship from Jimmy John's.
Is he still sponsored by Jimmy John's?
It's still on his back.
Awesome.
Lesnar?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. He was wearing the shirt. It wasn't on his shorts though. Okay. No. Okay. Now I understand where you guys are coming from, but I do want to bring up one thing. Garvin was really high on these when it happened, and that was, what if they did more UFC style promos with Lesnar, where you could have a team of editors salvage the wreckage that is Lesnar on the mic? Is that enough, or do you actually have to have him live in the ring because it's WrestleMania? Ergo, Heyman has to be involved. Do you see any middle ground there?
I think if you did a UFC MMA style promo where he speaks and then an editor comes out, okay, idiot, let me rephrase this so that you don't sound like a complete and utter moron when you speak. Here, try saying this.
You sound like a robot, but yeah.
I think, well, hey, robot can be sold better than caveman.
No,
me crush F5.
Tell that to the barbarians.
Garv, I'm going to kick to you. You're still on camera. You haven't done anything else. I'm hoping you're not playing Game Boy or something. What do you think? You see, could UFC style promos where they're edited work, or does it have to be live in the ring?
My Game Boy was stolen by Bobby Fischer in 7th grade.
The chess champion? You had a chess champion? A chess master stole your Game Boy.
It was just a lucky coincidence for him, I guess. All right. So as far as the UFC pay-per-views, or the promos rather, I think for sure that's probably the route they're going to take. There's no way that they're going to do a whole lot in the ring, without it being, Brock Lesnar destroying something. You have to separate them at this point, especially after seeing what we saw on Raw with, blood everywhere. I think at this point they need to continue to drive that point of it, that there's so much animosity that they went beyond, barriers, basically, the restrictions of the company to go after each other like that. I think that's a great part of the story, but if they continue to push that sort of thing in the ring, it would be difficult to maintain for the next 6 weeks. So yeah, I definitely see video packages for at least 3 to 4 of those weeks.
Okay, I completely agree with you, Garvin, on that one. Yeah, the editors are gonna have the editors are gonna be earning overtime for the next 6 weeks, whether or not it's putting together video packages or trying to save Lesnar. Alright, so I want to remind you guys that also you can see, we posted on our Facebook page, the Punk vs. Cena, main event. You can see it right on there, see the whole thing in its entirety. You have to. It is an amazing match. And once again, it's like, I can't believe we're not getting this for WrestleMania, but there we go. I do want to point out, that our WrestleMania 29 preview is, Saturday, April 6th at 1:30 Eastern. We're going to let you guys know each week as we lead up to it. On FTWLive.com. It's going to be awesome. We're probably going to have a full house again like we did last year. So expect all the guys to come out of the woodwork and girls, presumably. We're all going to sit there, preview, talk about the whole WrestleMania as a whole, what we think about it going into. Card's going to be a little more, filled in. Right now, we know it's going to be Rock versus Cena. Del Rio and Dolph versus Del Rio or Dolph. Well, Del Rio versus Jack Swagger. Dolph might possibly, hopefully, will be involved. We don't know what CM Punk's going to do. We don't know what's going on with Taker, but we are going to see Lesnar versus Triple H. Presumably hasn't been booked, but I'm guessing it's going to be. For WrestleMania. All in all, that's the road to WrestleMania as it stands right now. But we are going to dive into Ask FTW. You can send us topics to talk about via email to questions@ftwpodcast.com. Twitter by using Ask FTW, and by posting our Facebook wall or Google Plus community, or even leaving a comment directly on our site. There's no excuse to get your points in. So you ask, we answer. We each get 30 seconds to sound off on a news topic. And first thing on the docket is Robert saying, since CM Punk failed to advance to the main event in WrestleMania, what would be his next move leading up to it? Joe, what do you got?
If you don't say a possible match with Taker, you're a moron. But if Taker doesn't come back, I don't know. I mean, CM Punk versus Fandango? There's like nothing you can do with him right now. What do you do? Brodus Clay and Tensai?
See, okay. Just Fandango. Well, you gotta do something with him. He's debuting this week, so we'll eventually get to see what he's like.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the prediction of him being a monster in the ring is true. Because if they do go with that, then, well...
Brodus Clay's got to be pissed.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it does, WWE owes us royalties, but I like the idea of Brodus Clay being pissed. All right. Kev, what do you think? What's the next move for CM Punk leading up to WrestleMania?
It's got to be Taker. I mean, the only other conceivable thing I could think is maybe Ryback, but I don't think that happens. I think it's got to be Taker. If they're training him, yeah. Your opinion as to how it would happen, Harrison, would be pretty freaking awesome. So,
well, I mean, yeah. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of is possibly Ryback, but I doubt that's going to be the case.
Okay. All right, Rob, what do you think? Next move for CM Punk?
If he doesn't fight Undertaker, what I would do is I'd make it a triple threat match for the world title. Cena, Punk, and Rock.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's something that's been ticked around a lot. It'd be interesting to see, that's for sure. Do you think it's really all that likely, though?
I'm not going to speculate on how likely it is. It's just what I would do. You asked me what.
Would you unify the titles too, Rob? I mean, why not?
I would unify the titles. Fuck you, Harrison.
God,
Mostly
what do you got?
I need the draft points, but
fucking draft, I swear. Worst idea I ever had. All right, go on.
From the live chat, they're also throwing out that triple threat match. Obviously Punk versus Taker.
Thank you, Chad. I'm glad somebody's backing me on that.
Also a possible Punk versus Ziggler. I don't know necessarily how that would work out, but overall, yeah, if it's not Taker, I don't know. I feel like it's at a loss at this point because I don't necessarily want to see the triple threat match. I think Punk would add a nice touch to it, and you would have someone who could actually run a match. So, both Cena would look good, Rock would look good, and we wouldn't have those issues that we have now thinking about Rock versus Cena. But overall, we have 6 weeks left. I would say, this is maybe a topic we should bring back up if they haven't made a decision within, 2 weeks.
I would say 3 weeks, but yeah, that works for me. All right, yeah, I mean, for me, the road to CM Punk leading to WrestleMania, I don't know. The 6 weeks is plenty of time to book something, although it's going to be hasty no matter what it is, so might as well give something the crowd wants, which would be Taker versus Punk. If anybody could really help Taker get over and basically do a different style of match than what Triple H, Taker, and Shawn Michaels did last year, because as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to storytelling in a match, that will never be topped. But that kind of just like a nitty gritty, pickup game type of thing, I really think Punk's the guy to help Taker with that, and we always keep saying Taker's old and everything, but it's unavoidable. All right. Next one up is from Jesse. Do you think Ryback will get his first ever pay-per-view win? That's not true. He got a win before, didn't he?
Scheduled match win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. His first ever scheduled match pay-per-view win at WrestleMania or continue his pay-per-view losing streak. Joe, what you think, buddy?
I think he could definitely get a win at WrestleMania. Hell, it could even be over CM Punk if they sparked that little crap fest up. Crap fest meaning, I'm not actually saying it's bad. It was kind of sloppy storylining. But yeah, I maybe Ryback for somebody from the Shield, like Roman Reigns. I could see him toppling him.
Okay, no, that's a fair point. Rob, what you got?
Yeah, I think it could. If the WWE decides to grab two random jobbers from Louisiana and throw them in a ring against them and say, here you go. Outside of that, if they put Ryback up against an actual WWE wrestler, his losing streak continues.
Wow, bold prediction, Rob. All right. Lost my stopwatch. Here we go. Kev, what you got?
I think he's got too much momentum. He's going to have to get a win at some point. WrestleMania seems like the perfect time. They'll squash somebody, I don't know who, but yeah, I can't, with the way they're pushing him, I can't see them having him lose at WrestleMania with the way that they want him to go and with the character that they built for him. He's going to get it. I think it happens there.
Okay. Garvin, what do you got?
I suppose it would make sense for him to win, but I mean, it seems like what they're building towards is another Shield versus three random people. So Ryback would be one. They might throw Orton in there. That seems like the direction to go in. Maybe Sheamus if they don't put Sheamus versus Wade Barrett for the IC title. So yeah, I think it would be fitting for him to win at WrestleMania, and Shield could lose a match and still survive.
Yeah, Garv, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my point. I completely disagree with you on that because the Shield beat Ryback plus Sheamus plus Cena cleanly through superior teamwork and tactics. If they can't beat Ryback on the biggest stage of them all, that's a horrible thing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, especially when it happened so recently. So for me, if Ryback goes up against the Shield and beats the Shield, it means a lot for Ryback because basically he can do alone what Sheamus and Cena were holding him back. But at the same time, I mean, it's got to hurt Shield a little bit. You disagree with me?
Well, I just want to throw it back that, the thing is that if you listen to how it was worded in Shield's promo was basically, even if WWE built like a superpower army, they can't defeat the Shield. So I think that might be something that they might even try to do. Throw Ryback in there. I don't know if Orton fits in that role, but maybe they have someone else. Maybe that's where you throw Mark Henry. I doubt you would throw a Big Show in there, but I'm just saying, if you build a superpower army or whatever to face the Shield, maybe it would happen, especially with the type of buildup that we have left, the 6 weeks.
I mean, the only problem I have with that is, again, Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback couldn't do it. And Cena and Sheamus are the two top faces in the company right now. Cena for Raw and Sheamus for SmackDown. So if you're getting two lower tier guys, and Orton and, well, I guess Mark Henry, if you wanted to turn him or something, it's still, again, you kind of run into that problem of they beat them already.
But they had like no actual time to build up that match. I mean, as far as like they had no time to work together. Now we have six weeks to work together to basically form a team and have them gel together to actually, work towards beating the Shield, not just getting revenge and partnering up this one time out of not defeating 3MB the week before. That's not much of a prep, basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so what you're saying is,
Go ahead.
WWE essentially needs to take Orton. Hang on, I'm onto something here. I think this could be genius. They need to get Orton, Ryback, Mark Henry, and a fourth guy who's somewhat older. Give me a fourth guy who's somewhat older but can still wrestle.
Undertaker?
No, not Undertaker.
Big Show.
Give me somebody else. Give me somebody. Big Show? Alright, yeah, you put a gray wig on Big Show, you get a black van, and you form the A-Team.
But that's how
No,
they were
you
basically
do-
built
you
up.
do
Garbage!
John Cena.
No.
You did that video, Bad Man.
Yeah.
No, they could do it. Because then, oh god, this would be awesome. Because then Mark Henry would be B.A. Baracus. And
William Regal can be him. He's a gold guy.
Joe
There
with
you
the
go.
clutch decision. Yes. William Regal. Yes. Oh, that would be awesome. All right, anyway, yeah, so, yeah. And they could do, like, whole promos and everything for a crime they didn't commit. You need the A-Team. Bam, bam, bam. All right, anyway. What? I'm not the only one.
Hey, it gives William Regal a job.
Thank you, Joe. We employ William Regal. For that alone, it's worth the price of admission. God, it's not, look, I'm not bringing up, Shawn Michaels and Triple H having a torrid love affair again. This is the A-Team. It's a lot better than
You
that.
can always get sign Jay Lethal and have him do any imitation you need.
Do with all of them. He'd be the entire A-Team.
J-A-Team Lethal.
J-Team Lethal. All right, where were we? All right, so Matthew wrote in saying, do you think a heel Ryback versus Cena feud would be a positive after WrestleMania? And not if, but when would you like to see Orton turn heel, as his current character isn't doing much? It seems like a waste. Well, Orton is kind of a non-entity right now, so let's just concentrate on the thing. Do you think a heel Ryback versus Cena feud would be a good move after WrestleMania? Let's go to Joe first. Joe.
I could see it sometime down the road. I think Ryback has a little more time as a face because the faces in the company don't seem to have that destructive entity like the Ryback. It's not like they have the Batista or the Festus. So
You're running out of those, weren't you?
the Abyss.
That's a loose one. I'll give you that one though. All right. Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, he has too much momentum. There's no way you turn him right now. An Orton turn makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, with the way that he is just floundering and pathetic. And Joe's said for a long time, and I agree with him that Orton is better as a heel anyway. But Ryback, no way. There's no way you turn him. Not anytime soon.
Okay. Kevin? Oh, I'm sorry, Rob.
Okay, so Ryback as a
Rob, go on. Go ahead.
I think I don't think you turn Ryback heel just yet. He's got too much time as a face, and he's needed more in that role. Orton pretty much sucks heel or face, so
Orton
take
sucks
him
face.
out. No, he sucks as a heel or a face.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much that.
Okay. Sorry. Garv, what do you got?
We are forgetting that Ryback was a heel under Skip Sheffield when he was with the Nexus, and then he was also a heel the entire time he was in NXT, FCW, or whatever it was when he was originally Ryback, basically to build up the character before he was called up. So, I think he definitely can be a heel, and I think he could do it well. But at the same time, I mean, just like you guys were saying that he's a great face and he's, he's still got time to prove himself. But, with Cena, Rock, everyone else that's, the super faces here, like where is there room for Ryback to really succeed, especially when he's picking up losses like he is?
Oh, that's a good point. Joe, you got a rejoiner or
Yeah, really, really quickly. He was to Garvin's credit, he was a heel, back when he was the silverback Ryan Reeves, back when he was on that really crappy edition of SmackDown Only Tough Enough. But the problem is that being a heel is so much easier on the whole than being a face. And Ryback still has face time. You might as well run with it as much as you can until you need to turn him.
No, that's fair. And I would expand on that by saying it's not just being a heel is easier. Being a heel is easier when you don't do any promos. when you entirely speak with only your actions. It's a lot easier to be heel. Let's say the exceptions to that would be like Orton, only because, 7 moves of doom it's just where he is right now. And possibly, Michelangelo too. All right, Gary said, do you think Jack Swagger's push is long overdue? Well, do you, Joe? Do you think it's long overdue?
Jack Swagger's push, I think it's extremely long overdue. As much as I got tired of him when he had his initial ECW championship run and the short world title run, I like Swagger. He's a great worker in the ring. He's got a great look. It's just when he opens his damn mouth, he loses all intensity.
Okay. No, that's a fair point. I do have a counterpoint to that though, but yeah, okay. All right, Kev.
No, I don't think he earned the push at all. I think for the longest time he floundered bad matches. We talk about how pathetic the work that he was doing was. It's not like he was putting on good work and not being pushed. He was doing bad work and not being pushed, which is the way it should be. Joe, you're right. He did need a mouthpiece, which they put him with, and that was a smart move. But no, I don't think this is deserving at all. I think there's other guys that should be getting a better push than he is.
Okay. No, that's a good point. Rob?
Yeah, I'm with Kevin on this. Swagger hasn't really done anything to deserve the push. I mean, there's a reason why he was champion briefly, world champion, that is. And then, he just kind of disappeared off of the radar. And when he came back, he struggled, and now they're rewarding him for being a half-assed wrestler. BS.
Oh, okay. Gar, what do you think?
From the live chat, maybe not earned, but it was definitely needed. And I can kind of agree with that, at the same time, let's go back about 6 to 8 months when, before he left, it was Swagger joining Vicky Guerrero to basically turn his career around. And that never happened, even though that was the perfect scenario and the thing that we were all really happy with, as far as the potential of it, but it just failed. So I think, it's definitely long overdue because that's when we expected it the first time.
Okay. I do want to counterpoint to the fact that Swagger doesn't sound good. Lately it seems like whenever they're doing the video promos or something, he's sounding a little better. I don't know if he's working on his, lisp or speech impediment or whatever, or if it's just the way he's tilting his voice and he's choosing his words carefully so that way he doesn't have to cut an entire promo. But it does seem like he's doing a little bit better. But for it being long overdue, I wouldn't say it's long overdue. I mean, it's kind of a more evidence of JR's good old boy kind of influence type of thing, because JR is really high on this guy. And there is something to be said for having an old school collegiate wrestler, talented kind of guy like that, more of a brawler. Long overdue, yeah, I mean, they got to do something with him or just cut him, I mean, that's just how it is at this point.
It reminds me of Mark Mero 2.0. Just a guy that really wasn't that good, but seemed to keep getting opportunities that he didn't deserve.
And if you're playing FTW bingo, that's 2.0 has been officially dropped on the show.
As well as a Mark Mero reference.
Yes.
Good one,
Damn.
It's been a long time, huh? Bring it back, motherfuckers.
But to counterpoint Rob and Kevin, it's not just based on the TV time. Because they don't have a good storyline for him, Swagger did flounder on TV, but that doesn't mean he did extremely excel at house shows. The guy is a great worker. I haven't seen him be sloppy in any match he's been in since he's been back. He just hasn't been on TV, so he's been working house shows. It's not like he was just like sitting on a bench scratching his balls waiting for his beard to grow in.
On that, we're going to move on. Juliet wrote in, our illustrious friend Juliet, said, what do you think of Triple H's new hairdo? Well, we don't really have one.
It's new. Sort of.
Well, okay.
Sort of. He shaved it off like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to eviscerate it. I mean, okay. Does anybody have an opinion on this? I mean, because my only thing is, it's not. He just shaved it off. I mean, it's like stubble. It's
But it looks better than him with long hair. I think it definitely makes him less dated looking. It makes him look a little younger, because he is getting up there. It definitely looks better on him than it does Undertaker. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the PTA meetings, man. You can't go in with the greasy long hair spitting water.
I love the idea of Triple H shoehorning himself into one of those little desks. So we listen to his teacher talk about how him and Stephanie's kid's doing. That's awesome.
Why is my kid not getting A's?
Wait, is this going into Chaperone 2 talk?
I hope not. That movie sucked. I don't want to review that.
I've blacked that out of my memory.
Harrison,
So
you should really take note of what episodes you've reviewed movies in, and we can reference them when we reference them.
I gotta go back and find them. All right.
More China porn.
We're just gonna move it. No, we're not. I don't remember doing that. All right. From the Impact Facebook group, Ridge Max said, what groundbreaking idea do you think TNA will come up with this year? Rob, I'm gonna kick it to you first. Kind of lead us off.
I think they've come up with it, or I think they've really come up with at least one already, and that's the change in the pay-per-view schedules. I think that's really going to help TNA out long term. They've also started moving around, getting out of the Impact Zone, traveling around the country. I think both of those things are going to start making a huge impact for TNA this year.
Okay. All right. Rob, I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, like I said,
okay, I can. Yeah,
how come this only happens when Kevin's on the show?
Because I only think of him.
It is Kevin.
Oh yeah.
I'm a sexy bitch.
I don't think TNA is really going to come up with very many groundbreaking ideas, only because there aren't many groundbreaking ideas to come up with anymore. If this Aces and Eights storyline is any indication, that let's take all the mediocre guys and put them in a faction and somehow make them have power even though they don't win matches. I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that they're going to do anything groundbreaking.
Okay.
I don't think WWE will either.
Okay. Garv, what do you got?
Groundbreaking is a difficult term to use. I don't necessarily think that they will come up with something new. I just hope that they continue to do what they've been doing. I mean, it's not just one thing that they're doing, like the pay-per-view strategy, the new pay-per-view strategy. That's great. But let's look at what they've also done. Gut check, the new camera style that they're using on the UK tour. Hopefully they continue that, where the hard camera is on the aisle instead of, on the ringside like WWE does. Like, it's just doing things differently and doing them well. And I think that's what they're doing. And hopefully they continue that. They need to do it better.
Okay. Yeah, I do want to say this. Just when you think that everything's been done, that is the exact time to do something new. Because there is always something waiting to be innovated. And it's just when everybody thinks, well, there's no way they could change anything, that's exactly when you gotta hit that. And I think TNA is doing everything right when it comes to this kind of stuff. They're the ones who are really pushing the boundaries of what they can do. And they're being adventurous, which is exactly what you need. You need to get out there. You need to change camera angles, go to 4 pay-per-views a year, do crazy shit like that, because that's what's going to eventually build them into a different product. Garv, you got a different point?
Well, it's just a matter of they're finally taking chances. We finally got them to do what we've been wanting them to do for so long, which is basically take chances, and they're doing it well. From the live chat, they want to see gut check contestants actually on TV more than once a year, outside of their gut check match.
Yeah, that's one of those things. That and like the TV title, it's like one of those things where it's like, really, this is the natural progression of what you're presenting us. This is step 2. Why aren't we getting it? All right. Garvin wrote in weirdly and asked, just think if, now, come on, this is a long one. It's kind of convoluted, but it's Garvin, so stick with me. If Aries Rude, Chavo Hernandez, Ryan Morgan, Daniels Kaz, and Bischoff Briscoe were all working at the same time, you throw in Rockstar Spud and Robbie T, we'd finally have a tag team division again. Why don't they move forward with that? Rob, again, I'm going to kick to you first. If they have all of these people who have teamed around each other for the past few months, why not move forward with a tag team division?
Because that would take TV time that they don't have. See, the main problem TNA has right now is they only have one show a week, 2 hours a week. Thus, they've got all of the stuff they want to do, and they don't have a lot of time to do it. That's one way where the new pay-per-view schedule will help. Hopefully, we will see them start to move forward with a bigger tag team division and start getting back on the tag team thing.
Okay. Kevin. Go Kevin.
It's a good idea, and I'm a fan of tag team wrestling, so you want to put something together, and the more tag team wrestling, it's kind of been in a lull. So I'm fine with it. I think it's a good idea, and let's see if we can put some pairings together and get some good wrestling out of it.
Okay.
As far as why they aren't pushing forward with tag teams like this, I have no idea. This is why I'm posing this question. Even if you take Aries and Brood out once they go into the position that we want them to, which is to fight for the world title, you still have a ton of tag teams. So I think this is something that we have to pose to, our listeners, everyone in the live chat over on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus community, is why? What do you guys see that maybe we're not seeing of why they wouldn't move forward with something like this?
No, it's a really good question. I really, it's hard for me to have a final, opinion on this because I know they have that tag team one night only pay-per-view thing that they're teasing that's coming up. And so I can't help but wonder if maybe this is going to tie into it somehow. I mean, the thing is, those two that we've had so far, they've been pre-recorded and they've been they've been okay. But, I'm wondering if maybe now that they're on the road, they're going to do one of these live. It makes sense to do that one live. I don't know. I mean, I just can't help but think that we got that coming down the pipeline. Maybe this is going to lead into that somehow. Why we don't have a tag team division, like Rob said, TV time. But I'm also thinking, that's one aspect of it. Steven, last one, guys. Wanted to ask us, well, basically kicked it to us. Can you guys talk about why Lawler was eating all that that fried junk food from Sonic when he's recovering from a heart attack? Joe, you got an opinion on that one?
What's more interesting is he was eating that and Jack Swagger came out, and you figure Weed the People, he'd be all over that.
Because
all that fried Sonic goodness.
All right. Kevin, what do you got?
Two reasons. One, it's product placement. Two, you're dealing with a stupid audience. Hey. Just make the connection. Really not that hard. You're also talking about, I guarantee Vince is not worried about his 300-pound person in the stands eating Sonic and possibly keeling over afterwards if they're going to pay him a truckload of money to put that in front of Lawler. End of story.
All right. Rob, what do you got?
Yeah, I think Kevin hit it right on the nail, and I would also add that maybe Lawler has gotten fed up with the normal diet. I don't know. To me, recovering from a heart attack, eating fried food, you're asking to go right back into the hospital with another heart attack. Maybe Lawler liked his hospital stay. Maybe Lawler needs a vacation, and this is the only way he can get a vacation.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. What's a guy got to do to get a vacation in here? For me, I think it's mostly Honey Badger don't give a shit. I really don't think he cares. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It seems weird that they would do that, but it's not like he ate the entire meal. I mean, he was just like, Sonic, nom, 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 bite, 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 bite. All right, get this hell away from me. But, there is that thing where, clearly someone in creative quality control should have went, guys, let's just slide that meal a little bit to the left there and give it to Cole. All right. Greg, I want to
slide it to the fatty who's sitting behind him.
Yeah, that's it too, yeah. Give it to the ring announcer. Have Lillian Garcia eat it. She can put on some pounds.
Jerry Lawler signs the burger and gives it to the fans.
With a permanent marker and just kicks it over. That'd be awesome.
Have a heart attack, Jerry Lawler.
Greg, I want to thank you. Greg, guy we've had on a couple times, also a frequent listener and very, very, very active on our social media. Wrote an article about what could be next for Aces and Eights. Could it be Bully Ray? Wrote an article on it. You can check it out. It's 406northlane.com. Check out his blog. It's right on there. Really good article. Definitely check it out. But for now, it is time for Win to the Fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win.
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid
of the week.
It never gets old, man. I'm telling you.
Joe, your win of the week.
Do we have to say it? Really? It's the gore by Paul Heyman. No, it's the main event of Raw. Really? That was like a match of the year candidate. That was a fantastic match. We have a lot of year to go, so you can't lock it yet, but it's definitely a candidate.
All right. Kev, your win of the week.
Yes, Cena Punk is probably everybody's win. Just to change it up, my win is Garvin as a member of Team Hell No. Seriously, I don't know, Garvin, if you just tweeted a picture to Daniel Bryan, because, I mean, every time it's more and more. Like, he's like, I want to be Brian Garvin. I'm making it happen right now. It's cracking me up, man. It's too good.
I like the idea of Garvin shooting a selfie in his bedroom, like, with like a short tank top right above his belly button, pinching his finger, and then snaps it and sends it to Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan goes, "This is my muse."
Well,
yes.
I would have to be in the Speedos for sure.
Oh God, not that.
Come on, too good.
All right.
All we gotta do is find a little Paul London for him to let do a promo, and he can just giggle in the background.
Little backstory: Garvin was a swimmer one year for Halloween. He was wearing a Speedo.
Sexy swimmer.
He was wearing a Speedo, and what? You had goggles and a life jacket. That's all you were wearing, right?
And a raccoon hat.
But he just owned a raccoon hat and looked for any excuse he could to have it. Anyway, so he's wearing this, and the thing is, Garvin, the Speedo, dude, wrong size, because it was like transparent on the back, and you could clearly see the crack of his ass. And we kept telling him that we could see it, and he refused to believe us as he was getting more and more drunk as the night went on. So that, yeah, sexy swimmer in the Speedo. Please threw that away, right? I mean.
No. That's my weekend outfit, man.
Rob.
His wife gets every night.
Rob, oh, she's a brave woman. Rob, your win of the week.
My win of the week has to go to Hulk Hogan, saying that Jeff Hardy should be stripped of the title. It's nice to see TNA management agreeing with us, or at least some members in TNA management agreeing with us.
Awesome. All right, and Garv, what is your win of the week?
My win of the week is the opening segment to Raw. The blood added such a nice touch to that. It was so shocking because it's something we don't see anymore. Just like the pile driver. The pile driver is the same situation. Because we don't get it all the time like we used to, it means something now, and it means something awesome.
Excellent. My win of the week is, again, guys, when we started doing this, the ultimate goal was to build a community around it that we could participate in and have a lot of fun and have, honestly, intelligent discussions about this industry. StiffWorker and Nick, you guys did, such an amazing job with this blog post debate. You kept it civil. Counterpoint after counterpoint went on and on. It was fantastic. But then when you read the comments on these guys, it was amazing. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't, blog rolls central or whatever else, SB Nation, all that other bullshit out there where people just post, top 10 lists. It was an intelligent discussion about this, and this is what the industry needs, is us talking like this, because we need to take this seriously, because no one else is. Everyone's just reposting what PW Torch and, WrestleZone exclusives are. So the idea that we would do this and that you guys participate in it and just took the ball and ran with it, win of the fucking year, guys. And I'm so looking forward to seeing what else you guys come up with. All right, time for the chat. What are your wins?
From the chat, Blood, CM Punk versus John Cena, Aces and Eights finally getting a big win. Again, Blood on Raw. Kevin, the English crowds, and Joe, the pile driver, Velvet Sky, winning the TNA Knockout Championship.
All right. Fails of the week. Time for fails. Joe, your fail. Go.
My fail of the week is, I'm gonna say on Superstars, Sin Cara beating Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Yeah, Sin Cara doesn't deserve to be Drew McIntyre.
All right. Rob, your fail of the week. Go, Rob.
My fail of the week has to be Glenn Beck keeping Jack Swagger either employed or from punishment, because he can't tell the difference between storyline stuff and actual reality.
It's still real to him.
Yeah, this is true, but Just because it's real to him doesn't mean it has to be real to everybody.
It's real to him, damn it. That's the line. It's real to him, damn it. All right, no Kev yet. So Garv, give me your fail of the week.
My fail of the week, and this is old man sitting on his porch talk, but it's the new generation of wrestling fans who thought that Punk versus Cena went too long and was a boring match. I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. It wasn't on our Facebook page, but definitely in the Google Plus community where we have quite a bit of young audience. They were kind of shitting on this match, and I don't see it. I don't understand how you can look at that match and not understand this is how wrestling should be.
Well, but that's what, like Joe said, that's one of the things that's been lost these days. Technical wrestling is not cool and awesome. It's boring.
I don't want to take too cynical of a route on that one. All right, no Kevin yet, so Kevin's fail.
I don't know if his power had actually come back. He said it went out. He didn't actually say it came back. So
I'm just amazed he texted you. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's good like that.
Technology, man.
Yeah, Kevin, with the, he's, I'm, you know what? We should do a spin-off show where we have Kevin review technology.
No, it would be not. Kevin's bad at technology.
It would be 20 minutes of him going, fuck, how do I turn this fucking thing on?
All right, how do I log in? How do I log into this?
How do I log into this?
Okay, where do I go now?
Wait a minute, guys. This isn't the pre-show.
Oh, it's like flashbacks. All right. My fail of the week. I want to give it to Hogan for his remark of going against company decision again. But ultimately, I got to kind of, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to give it to Hogan. Hogan, I'm sorry, buddy. The company made a decision. They went overseas with it. It lasted for 4 weeks. It's a huge deal. Don't do that. Don't go out and undermine it because you know who you are. You are Hulk goddamn Hogan. People perk up when you speak. So when you do things like that, it's like, it's just stupid. It's just really, really stupid to do things like that. And I know you know what you're doing because you're way too media savvy. You've been in this business way too long to pull this shit and think that I can only hope it's a work. And if it is a work, it's just weird. Anyway, Garv, what, our chat correspondent, what does the, what are their fails?
From the chat, Kali still on TV, the image of Garvin and Speedos, Impact's main event with the Hogans, Glenn, Beck, no divas on Raw.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. There were no divas on Raw. All right. I'd like to thank Kevin for being on the show. And that is it. Why don't you go and head on to FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. On our new and improved site, we posted links to our iTunes page so you can go there and rate us higher than any podcast ever, as well as links to other ways to support us, do Stitcher, merch, things like that. We appreciate any help that we can get, obviously. I want to thank everyone in the live chat hooligans. You guys were amazing. All of our contributors on the site, you guys make this awesome. You guys can sponsor a future episode by going to ftwpodcast.com/sponsor. And while you're at the site, make sure to check out all the shirts that we have available at ftwpodcast.com/shirts. We record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, -5 Greenwich Mean Time at ftwlive.com. See you next Tuesday.